is a natural and biological need. A healthy lifestyle requires adequate and restful sleep.
6 to 8, depends on the night.
6 to 7 hours of sleep on school nights.
Like about 5 hours.
I get an average of 4 to 5 hours of sleep per night.
On average, I think I get about 2 hours of sleep a night. That would be the maximum.
I get like 8 hours of sleep.
On average, I'd say I get between 4 and 6 hours a night, sometimes none.
I get 7 hours of sleep.
Get about 3 hours of sleep a night.
On average, I get around 2 to 3 hours of sleep a day.
I get around 5 or 6 every night. 4, okay, 3. I'm sorry.
According to the National Sleep Foundation, the required amount of sleep for most teens is 9 hours or more of sleep each night. In a survey given to high school students, 23% said that they got less than 4 hours of sleep each night. 54% said they got 4 to 6 hours. 23% said they got 7 to 9 hours, and 0% said that they got more than 9 hours. We interviewed a few individuals who often interact with teenagers who are sleep deprived. This is what they said.
Okay, so definitely in the morning when the students are coming in at like 7:19 when the class starts, the students' energy is very low. By the time 5th or 6th period comes about, the students' energy, they're very, after maybe they just ate or they're about to have lunch, they're more energetic, more participation in the classroom. And then as 9th period rolls around, you either have people who are very sleepy because they ate lunch, or they're really hyper because they're much more alert.
There's a big difference actually in kids you have at the end of the day versus the beginning of the day. Kids at the end of the day are on the way out, they're exhausted, they're tired, they have a lack of focus, when generally in the morning, kids fresh, aside from the first 10 minutes of period 1, kids fresh, ready to go, energized, generally into what we're doing. Which is, as the day progresses, obviously, exhaustion sets in, kids tired, and boom, boom, boom.
Yes, I do, because most of the students, when I talk to my students specifically in psychology class and I ask them how many hours of sleep they're getting, they tell me 5 hours, some less. So it definitely affects your performance because you cannot reach a peak performance if you are sleeping 5 hours. The recommended sleep for adolescents is between 8 and 9 hours. You guys are getting 5.
Again, it depends upon who and what the students are. But I mean, if you're tired, you lack focus, you can't generally get engaged in terms of what the lesson is. Participation, obviously, that wavers, and then again, boom, academic performance, not as good. Obviously, not a psychometrician or a educational researcher, but just observation. I mean, you could say that maybe the older kids would like to start their days a little bit later. I don't want to say that, but elementary school kids certainly would probably do a little better if they were to start earlier, since they're always up and about. And high school kids would love to sleep a little bit later anyway.
Yes, I absolutely think high school should start later and go later because teenagers' natural rhythms are to sleep more in the morning, and they would do better if they were allowed to sleep later. Little kids generally get up earlier by design, so they would be better off doing elementary school earlier in the day and high school later in the day.
Well, here's the problem. There's only so many hours in the day, and when the kids have a full day of school, that's exhausting in and of itself, followed by then 2 hours of sports, followed then by 13 clubs to better enrich the lives and the world of the Dix Hills community, then to go to religion. So when you cram 30 hours of activities in a 24-hour day, and then obviously homework and such, things get sacrificed. And generally speaking, the work does not get sacrificed, it will be sleep. So with all that extra stuff that goes on, certainly very, very tired, which then compounds the problem of focus in class, poor performance, but just keep jamming, all that stuff.
Yeah, because they're on a constant go schedule. First they have school, then they have practice, then the other kids after practice go to another sport until 7, 8 o'clock at night, so they definitely are exhausted. And then they're doing homework after that and eating dinner at 10 o'clock at night, so I definitely feel that they are tired and sleep deprived.
Priorities. Like everything else in life, you have to choose what's important to you. If school is important, that's first priority. If that's obviously sports is interfering with that, you gotta take a step back. If clubs are interfering with that, you gotta take a step back, and all the other outside stuff that you gotta do. But again, it's tough. It's a lot of pressure in order to decide what's most important, because those other things that you do, particularly when you go to high school, those are the things that separate you from the other candidates going to college.
In the 1990s, the change in school start times in Minnesota showed positive results. Changing the school start time from 7:15 a.m. to 8:40 a.m. improved student attendance, decreased lateness, and decreased visits to the school nurse. Most students also went to bed at their regular bedtimes, adding an extra hour of sleep per night. This was because they were able to get more homework done during the day due to increased alertness and sufficiency. While extracurricular activities are good to have, too many can cause sleep deprivation in students. We asked students at High School West what extracurricular activities they did. This is what they said.
I do environmental club. I also am in National Art Honor Society, and I tutor twice a week.
I always have a sport to do, and then sometimes a club. Soccer, lacrosse all year, then some after-school activities.
After-school activities, art club, environmental club, art honor society, stage crew, newspaper.
Have environmental club twice a week that I have to stay after for, and interact club that I stay after for also.
What else? I used to have a part-time job, but the place where I had a part-time job closed recently, went out of business, so I am without one for now, but I hope to get one soon. And I have lots of after-school activities, including lots of work for the 5 AP classes I was foolish enough to take. So.
I have a club every single day of the week, sometimes multiple clubs a day. Mondays I have Music Honor Society and occasionally Thespian Society. I'm an officer in Thespian Society, so I actually have to be there and do things. Tuesdays I'm Vice President of GSA. Wednesdays I have Blue Notes Vocal Jazz. Thursdays I have Cross Campus Chamber Choir, and Fridays I have Art Honor Society, where I'm also an officer. And I work a part-time job outside of school most days of the week.
Mostly the school newspaper.
And I horseback ride. I am in Jewish Heritage Club, Future Educators of America Club, newspaper, and French Club.
Extracurricular activities, I have violin, piano, and a lot of studying because that's 6 APs.
I have anywhere between 10 and 13 extracurricular activities, and I never get home, and I'm really stressed all the time, and don't take 6 APs, kids.
And do you think that you're sleep deprived?
Absolutely.
And do you think that affects your mood or how you work?
Yes, definitely.
In what ways?
Well, I'm often very delirious and cranky in a lot of my classes, and I'm not able to focus or stay awake, and a lot of the teachers get annoyed with that.
Basically, you're feeling sluggish, you make mistakes, you're not on your game, you could feel depressed, angry, you don't have a lot of patience.
Lack of sleep causes teenagers to be more irritable than they normally are, have poor judgment in tough situations, and overall is unhealthy.
It can be hard to relax and go to sleep with the busy schedules of today's youth. So here are some tips to get more sleep. Consume less or no caffeine before going to bed. Also, drink less fluids before going to sleep. Try a relaxing routine before going to bed. Also, avoid exercise near bedtime. Exercise at least 3 hours before going to bed. Establish a regular schedule to go to bed and wake up. Do not go to bed hungry. Have a light snack, but avoid a heavy meal before bed. Last but not least, have a bedtime routine, which is helpful for good sleep.